What's going on, Code listeners? Dr. Andrew Fix back for another episode with you guys. We've got an awesome interview lined up for you guys today. I'm speaking with my friend Jerry Durham. Jerry is a physical therapist and the founder of the Client Experience Company. He's been a business coach that we have worked with at our practice physio room, and he has a ton of valuable information for you guys. So, Jerry, thanks so much for hopping on the code and talking to me, man.
Yeah, thanks for contacting me. I think this will be great, based on the stuff I've done and be able to flip it over and tell people how they can maybe, help them find better solutions quicker, and therefore save some time, money, and energy in doing what's best for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's been a little while since, other than a couple emails that I've had the chance to talk to you. And we were just kind of talking off air. I think it would be appropriate to just give a quick shout out on here to Lindsay Wilkins. She manages the social media for both Jerry's business and for our business here at Physio Room.
And I wouldn't know her if it wasn't for you guys posting, right, your stuff. So yeah,
shout out to Lindsay.
Nice little virtuous circle here.
Absolutely. I mean, I think our page looks awesome. I think your page looks awesome. So shout out to her for doing that. But Jerry, would you do the honor of, for all the people that are listening, just do a little bit more thorough of an introduction of yourself, and then tell us what the heck the Client Experience Company is and is all about.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I mean, the Client Experience Company is client, customer, person focused, right? So I'm a physical therapist by training, owned my own business. I've been in this now, I think I'm in my 30th year. By the way, I paid my student loan off this week.
There you go.
And I've been in this 30 years. So there's hope for everybody. Fortunately, my student loan payment had one less zero than most people's do today. And we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I'm done. So 30 plus years, and working for employers, big and small. I worked for large employers. I worked for very small employers, and then started my own gig a while back. And where I am today really started with that journey with my own business and realizing that most of healthcare, and we could say healthcare and wellness, healthcare, physical therapy, so just put everything under the umbrella. It is a weird world out there. And I don't need to tell you all yet from my context where I'm saying that is there's so much focus on this third-party payer and all this other stuff in healthcare and wellness, both from the provider side and from the consumer side. Let's just call it consumer side, that we tend to lose focus of this person who's actually a potential client, a potential patient who needs a solution we have. Mm-hmm. And this Client Experience Company is literally based on just that. It's that we can have greater success in healthcare, in physiotherapy, in wellness by focusing on the people we serve. And it's given a lot of lip service in healthcare. And I got to tell you, it's one of the worst industries out there for actually putting the focus on the person we serve, that client, customer, patient. So the Client Experience Company, I work with clinics like Physio Room, all shapes and sizes, big and small, everything from pediatrics to pelvic health to musculoskeletal to everything in between, build out what I call understand their patient's journey so they can build out, their patient or client's experience within the company to be client patient focused. And if we're client patient focused, then all the good things that need to happen for our clients, our patients will happen, which in turn will lead to business success. So it's interesting because some nights I lay in bed and going, I'm getting paid to do what? Because this seems like the only thing we should be doing, but yet most people aren't doing it. So my company, right, I help people build the systems and processes to manage their clients from their marketing all the way through till whatever the endpoint is. And for a lot of clients, there is no endpoint. So how do we manage these people through their journey with our practice business?
Yeah, I love that. And, I would agree with you, having, obviously been a client or been a patient in a lot of different offices and then worked in different offices myself. There there are so many things that do get in the way of just keeping the focus on the patient and on the client. And there's so much stuff that interrupts that flow in that process. So I think it's great.
That's a good way to describe it, by the way. That's a really good way.
Yeah. Now, Jerry, you're from the West Coast, right?
Yeah, originally from the West Coast, now in Philadelphia. And I don't know when you'll drop this, but it is baseball season. And I will be, because my Giants missed the playoffs this year. So I will be, but the city I live in now is Philadelphia. They're in the playoffs. I'll be there tomorrow night.
Nice. Sweet. Yeah.
So yeah, West Coast to East Coast and then back.
And the Warriors took care of business in their first game.
You are correct.
Yeah, cool. Well, again, I really appreciate you hopping on here, and all the people that are tuning in to listen to this. Hopefully this episode gives you a little bit of a, I don't know if permission slip is the right word, but as a client or as a consumer, ultimately it's your responsibility to direct your health and wellness, and to ask the right questions and to find the right providers for you. And that's what we kind of want to make this episode about. Like, how can you make sure that you get into the right place or the right office to help you find a solution to what it is that you're dealing with, whether that's a mental health facility or whether that's physical therapy or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? How do you make sure you wind up at the right store for the products that you're looking for? And it all comes down to, how you go about searching for that. And I think Jerry's a good person to talk to. So why don't we just sort of start it with that very broad umbrella question, Jerry? How can a consumer, I guess of healthcare, how can they make sure they find themselves in the right place? Because you could hop on Google and search for something and you'll find tons of choices. How do you know which one to pick?
Yeah, this is interesting. I want to go back to I want to take it one step up.
Yeah.
I always use the shopping for shoes analogy, and shoes is a broad category, right?
Big time.
Right. So back to you said, if I walked into a shoe store, I'd walk, and I wasn't familiar with the shoe store, and I don't have to have a specific brand in line and, the 2013 Jordan lows in blue or red or whatever, right? It's just like, no, I need this type of shoe. Pretty much you might look around, but eventually you're going to walk up to the counter and go, hey, I'm looking for this type of shoe. Do you have it? That's pretty much a yes or no, or we can get it. And then the next thing you're going to say is, how much is it? You can see where we're going with all these people. So substitute the word shoe with low back pain, substitute the word shoe with any diagnosis. And again, I'm glad you said like mental health, everything, right? This is not just a physical therapy talk. This is a healthcare talk, but probably going to go talk more about this. So replace shoes with low back pain. Again, if I was looking for a certain shoe, I might go on Google, right, and get 1.5 million hits, right? Places I can buy it online. But then what I would do on Google is I would keep refining my search based on my first search, right?
Yeah.
And you would start using more words, less broad terms, more specific terms. And by the way, these specific terms are specific to you and what you're looking for. So I love this analogy. This works perfect. So looking for by the way, a healthcare solution, let me just define this real quick. A healthcare solution is someone or something that should be able to have a conversation with you, do an evaluation with you, a further breakdown, a more extensive conversation. Because again, physical therapy, a lot of times it's a hands-on and movement assessment with a deeper dive, a subjective exam. But it doesn't need to have a hands-on and movement assessment in all healthcare. But as an expert who is a solution for you, maybe someone who at the end of this evaluation says, Jerry, I hear you. I understand you. I get what's going on. Let me explain to you. And they should do one of two things. Either tell you they are the right person for you, or say, I'm not the right person, but here is where I would like you to continue your journey next. So a solution is not someone who can, well, this is what's funny. Did they solve your problem? I'd say, yeah, they did, because they didn't keep you there. They moved you on in your journey to the next step. So when we say we're looking for healthcare solutions, where's this place I can go next on my journey towards this destination of no low back pain, right? Because we started there. And I'm on a journey. So the solution is having someone who is competent and trained and everything else to evaluate me for the condition I have, and then tell me at the end of it what needs to be done next. And what needs to be done next may be, I can't help you. I need to refer you out. I need to send you here, or you need to do this. Probably it shouldn't be I. It should be you. You need to do this next based on these findings. And then they should supply those findings to you so you can take them. And what we're doing is right now is we're refining out our Google search for help with low back pain, right? So that's where this should all start. And so when I train, so what I do is along these lines, I just talked about a provider, but where this journey should really start for you is in what you're looking at online, what you're reading, what questions you're asking, and what questions are asked of you from this so-called solution, which, by the way, this so-called solution mean the practice, the office, the clinic, the whatever that you call. Because I actually train front desk teams, the non-licensed providers, on how better to help people understand further upstream if this is the right next step for you in your journey back to whatever solution you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so what I want to help everybody here understand today is what question, because I'm 55 years old. Nobody in healthcare has ever asked me on the front end, right, what I want, what solution I'm looking for. Never. And I'm just going to say that, never. And so we have all been conditioned to never ask for this solution, coincidentally enough. It's a bad cycle. So I train people managing what I call this pre-arrival process to take that as the baseline. That, hey, this person on the other phone has been trained not to ask you the questions that will actually help them find the right place. And I'm not exaggerating. So I train the front desk people on how to help people understand, hey, I'm here to help you find this solution. And so I'm going to ask you these questions. And what I want to do today is flip these questions over to you, this person seeking the help, and just start approaching things from this mindset. If you don't mind, we can keep talking, or if you have some follow-ups on those.
Well, like exactly like you said, let's flip this around and put it sort of in the hands of the person who's seeking help, because like you just said, almost every single secretary, front office person of any healthcare office,
call center, whatever,
they're not trained to ask you the right questions. They're trained to say, what's your name, date of birth, and insurance information, right? Like, and it's not even a humanizing type of thing. It's just like, let me get these 1, 2, 3 items done before I even ask you, like, hey, how's your day? What are you calling for? How can I help you? That's not what they're trained to do. So you as the consumer have to train yourself to like ask the right questions and direct the conversation to make sure that you obtain the solution that either helps you or continues you on your journey to the right place to get the solution that you need. So yeah, I think this will be good.
I'm going to state that at the end of this podcast, if you've listened to this, you have better prepared yourself to spend less time, less money, and less energy finding the solution, because you will be better prepared. Because in the example that was just given, when you call a place, their only objective is to get you scheduled and to get you scheduled. That's it.
Yeah.
So if my objective is to get you scheduled at 10:30, I'm going to run you through this as quickly as possible with the least amount of conversation and least amount of information. You're scheduled next Tuesday at 10:30. And by the way, some of this shit is 6 months out. So think about this. If you schedule 6 months out and you think this is a solution, and you wait 6 months to arrive in the clinic, and within 15 minutes realize this isn't the solution, this wasn't a 15-minute wasted time.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So again, at the end of this podcast, I'm going to state that you will save time, money, and energy by thinking this way. Because if you start asking these questions, if you start digging a little more, and by the way, this shouldn't be awkward or unfamiliar to anybody, because it's the same thing you do when you buy frickin' shoes. It's kind of sad because we've made the consumer to believe these aren't appropriate questions, that you will, again, you will not be on the schedule in 6 months and you will continue your journey. But even if you are on the schedule next Thursday and it's only 7 days away, you got to take time off from work. You got to get in your car. You got to jump on a telehealth, right? You got to take time out of your day. You got to get a babysitter for your kids. You got to do whatever to get yourself over to the provider's office, sit in the provider's office, go through all that to walk out the door, to then return home, to return back to work, to whatever else, to find out why the hell was I there? Mm-hmm. So the time, money, and energy component for you is really important.
Yeah.
So let's think about this, right? So we were talking about this before we started, because we were talking about like some of the websites and things like that. So if you have low back pain, right, you have your experience and you have your story around this low back pain, right? So we can say 81% of the population has low back pain. Wow, how common. I'd go, yeah, but nobody who has it is alike, right? And we could probably bunch them up into thousands of categories, depending on what we looked at: age, gender, how they heard it, how, again, their experience during this, how long they've had it, right? So we could start breaking this stuff up. You have to think of yourself this way as you're looking for a solution. First time back pain, fifth time with low back pain. And you need to start looking for solutions that address you. And when I say you, I just gave you all the broad terminology, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and by the way, because here, let's just give an example. I work with a lot of pelvic health clinics, postpartum, right? You have low back pain postpartum, there's a lot of boxes that need to be checked there instead of just going to see a low back pain specialist, right? And again, everybody needs to think of themselves in that manner, right? So I have this low back pain, but it's me. Mm-hmm. Right. And my experience, and how did I hurt it? And when did I hurt it? And what have I heard? And what have I seen? Right. You need to, when you Google low back pain, right? Maybe low back pain in Denver, right? You need to start thinking about, how can I narrow this search down, right? Low back pain, 25-year-old male, CrossFitter, right? In Denver.
Yeah.
Right. And these are the things, because you want to start looking for solutions that are delivered. I'm trying to make sure I say this properly, that are delivered by people mm-hmm. who serve people, quote unquote, just like you.
Right.
And it's baffling sometimes, right? You go sit in a doctor's office, everybody looks different, all ages, all everythings. And I'm like, right? Is there more than one doctor in here, or is this one doctor serve all these people, right?
Right.
You're looking at physical therapists. Well, physical therapists help with low back pain. Yeah. And again, there are specialists out there who just treat postpartum, right? Mm-hmm. There are specialists out there that just treat CrossFitters. There are specialists out there that treat mountain bikers, right? Runners. And there are people that do maybe a combination of those, because treating a mountain biker, runner, CrossFitter is not that uncommon, and a lot of the same mechanisms, right? So you've got to be looking for the solution for you, this person, and your experience first and foremost, right? So you land on a website, right? First thing you see, right? Physical therapy. I'm just going to stay this route, right? And you go click on the first website and you see. And by the way, I'm going to say, right, I might use opposites here. I'm not saying either is better. I'm saying for this person, this 25-year-old CrossFitter, let's just say, okay, you go to a website and it's a lot of pictures of a clinic with a lot of high-low tables, with people lying on tables, with a lot of people doing some hands-on work and stuff like that, all different ages, doing all different types of things. Does that look like me? Does that look like my experience? Does that look like something I'm expecting to deliver me the results?
Right.
No. Then I go to the next place. I land, and the first thing I see is people doing CrossFit, people riding mountain bikes, people running, right? And I'm like, this is more me. I scroll down. I see a big open gym. I see a lot of weights. I don't see a lot of people laying around. It doesn't mean there's not private treatment rooms. It doesn't mean there's not going to be time on a table. But what aligns with my experience, right? And that is now you're narrowing down your solutions for you based on your experience, because it's not all the same. And again, we could take any freaking diagnosis. It's the same thing, right? And so that's where we have to start this journey. And, and then we just I'm thinking of this as a funnel and my vision narrowing down. So now I'm here. So let's just take it the next step. Now I call the clinic with the CrossFitter, with the big gym, right? Hi, my name's, don't do this. Hi, my name's Jerry. I have low back pain. I want to get scheduled for physical therapy, which is what the bulk of people do.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's all anybody, by the way, why do they do that? That's all anybody's ever been asked. Your name, your diagnosis, and what do you need?
Yeah.
And then what does that clinic do? Yeah. What does that clinic do? They schedule me for physical therapy for low back pain at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. That's all I know. So if I hang up the phone, I'm scheduled 10 o'clock on Wednesday for low back pain with a physical therapist, and that's all I know because that's all they asked. I'm just going to go out on a limb here, 51% chance you're in the wrong place. You might as well flip a coin. Now, if I call that same place and I say, hi, my name's Jerry. I do CrossFit. I hurt my back in CrossFit, and I'm looking to get scheduled with someone who can help me figure this thing out. Man, if I picked, by the way, I answered the phone in my own business for a full year.
Yeah.
Right. Taking new patient calls. Nobody ever started a call like that. Right.
Well, I think you said a little while ago, hey, I'm Jerry. I'm, 55 years old. I've never been asked, these questions before. Jerry has called probably more healthcare offices than anybody I know. Right. Jerry has made these phone calls to find out what people ask, and then established a business around fixing the problem that he was finding. Right. So I've scheduled myself for a lot of healthcare appointments, but I've made a fraction of the number of these calls that Jerry has made. So just for some context.
I've answered, I think both of these are huge context. I've done this, what I call secret caller, where I'm one of the BC boys who you see behind me. I have low back pain. I want to get scheduled for physical therapy. Of all the clinics I've ever called, greater than 90% have scheduled me for physical therapy for low back pain, with or without the name of the PT. So when I hang up the phone, in the context of what we're talking about, the first thing I do is I say, why should I arrive at this clinic based on what I need, what I want? There, greater than 50% of the time, there is zero reason for me to arrive. So I'm telling now, flip this, right? Because I've answered the call. So I've heard people on the other end never ask me that question, never go. And by the way, I say never. So I'm going to say 5% or less, because there were some people in there. But think about that. Think about how, when I hear that, so I'm sitting answering phones at a physiotherapy clinic, scheduling people for physical therapy. My objective is to put people on the schedule. By the way, I almost said fuck, but I won't. Next time you call, so anybody, again, next time you call your healthcare provider, think of the context you're in right now, and I'm going to use the low back pain. Call and say, right, again, my name's Jerry, right? And again, you make the changes. I do CrossFit. I have low back pain, and I want to see if you guys can help me out. If they say, Jerry, I need a few things from you, and they ask you for your first name, last name, date of birth, and insurance information, I'm going to give you a little heads up. You're probably going to want to end that call pretty quickly. What you should hear next is, oh, Jerry, so sorry to hear that. Oh, Jerry, we help a lot of CrossFitters. Oh, Jerry, actually, we don't help a lot of CrossFitters. Oh, Jerry, let me ask you more questions and learn more about you and this low back pain related to CrossFit so we can see if we can help you. Any of those are totally acceptable. The one I told you is not acceptable. It's, oh, okay, yeah, great. We can help you out. Can I get your first name, last name, date of birth, insurance, and how'd you find out about us? Okay, and phone number. Yeah. Now, what was your name again? By the way, if I've been asked my name more than once, I purposely do it the same way every time. So any of that one right there is a big red flag for you. Because I'm going to tell you what, they may have, here's the sad part of this whole story. Your solution may be in there, but you're going to invest time, money, and energy, maybe wait 2 weeks, and you're going to hope that they do. So instead of waiting, you're going to put them on the spot. So if someone does that, go, well, okay, that's all. So you have all my info now. Great. Do you have me scheduled with someone who helps CrossFitters? Mm-hmm. Well, here's the canned answer. Do not let this slide by either, please. I've heard this more times than not. All of our providers, all of our physical therapists do really good work with low back pain. Awesome. Not the question I asked you, but that's cool. Thanks for the politician answer. Right? These are the things that if you're asking this on the front end, you're going to save yourself a copay, a deductible payment, a cash payment out of your pocket, an HSA slide. You're going to save yourself an hour in the clinic. You're going to save yourself 15 minutes driving both ways. There is no reason on the face of the earth to waste your time, money, and energy to go to that clinic. So believe it or not, you starting the conversation with, hi, my name is, I have this problem and I like to do these things and want to get back to them. Can you help me? Again, the answer can be, Jerry, yes, we help a lot of people like that. Cool. They then should go on to find out more about you. And again, determine if they have the solution for you. And the solution should be a one visit, by the way. At this point, I should be telling you, Jerry, I've got you scheduled, Dr. Andrew, right? On Friday at 10 o'clock, 1 hour. And he's going to take you through these steps. And at the end of that, he's going to tell you what the plan looks like.
Yeah.
So he's going to tell you. Yet I need you to understand that Dr. Andrew does see a lot of people like you and has helped a lot of people like you and currently has people like you on his schedule. You should hear all this. And if you don't, you got to be leery. And it doesn't mean, because even if that front desk person goes, well, can I have one of the PTs call you back? Yes, you can, because they just saved you all that time, money, and energy. So again, that's a solution.
Yeah.
Right. So if they run you through all that BS around what they need to gather and you go, wait a minute, all of our PTs helped. And they go, well, wait a minute, Jerry, how about I have the PT I was going to get you scheduled with call you? I'd go, absolutely.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Right. And then you're going to ask them the same questions. But they're going to save you. I just did a post yesterday about this. Not everybody who calls in should be scheduled, but every PT clinic is trying to put everybody on the schedule. And if they can't answer those questions for you, you shouldn't be on the schedule. And again, what is the solution they're going to offer you? Another clinic? Sure. A call back from an expert? Sure. But showing up, investing my time, money, and energy so I can hope? No. And again, I don't care your diagnosis. I don't care the service. I don't care any of that, right? So you, as it was said at the beginning of this podcast, you have to own this conversation. And if you get pushback and someone says, just fucking hang up on them.
Yeah.
I mean, again, enough of this. And they have to acknowledge you. They have to ask, right? They're not going to do a subjective exam, but tell me what's going on, Jerry. How long has this been going on? About 6 months. Ooh. And you heard it at CrossFit? Yeah. Well, we do see a lot of people from CrossFit. This is definitely sounding like something we can help, that we've helped people with. Cool. Now I'm checking boxes, right? And again, insert anything in there. And by the way, there are clinics out there that help a lot of different type of people. Hey, do you have a PT that's dealt with vestibular stuff? Actually, we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's all. But if it's no, or they can't tell you, well, can you ask the staff? Don't put me on the schedule of someone who's never treated someone like me. Again, have someone call back. And again, this is regardless of diagnosis, right? Searching out freaking God knows what.
Anything.
Right?
Searching out anything.
Surgeon. Yeah, surgeon. Especially a surgeon. Holy Lord, right? but anything, because when you enter low back pain, by the way, I got a little secret for all the physios out there, but hopefully there are no physios answering. By the way, remember, I am a physio. When you search in low back pain, you may land somewhere else. I've been using physio as the example, but you may land somewhere else who you believe can deliver the solution best. And I'm not even saying it'd be a physio, yet you owe yourself the same questions, the same process, whether you're calling the chiro office, a massage therapist, a personal trainer, any of these things can be a solution for you. If you take the reins back from them, because most of them try to take the reins from you, take the reins back from them and go, cool, you got everything you need, right? So if Andrew answered the phone and he took me through this first name, last name, date of birth, I go, great, you have everything you need? Yeah, great. I've got questions for you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to interrupt him and go, no, but I'm going to start to get a little suspicious, because if this, again, I've trained people to ask you that question, to ask you those questions, hopefully before they come up and before you think you need to ask them, because you get to the end of this call and you're like, wow, we didn't talk about me. I train people to make it about you. So Jerry, sorry to hear you have low back pain. We do help people with low back pain, because if you say low back pain, and we do, I'm going to start there. So at least you go, oh, cool. Right. So at least I'm in the ballpark.
Yep.
So I don't know, again, I could continue down different paths on this, yet you got to take the reins back. You got to ask your experience, your age, your likes, your dislikes. I mean, you play golf, man. I got again, here we go. Low back pain in golf.
Yep.
You walk into a clinic. Yeah, we treat a lot of low back pain. And the person working with you doesn't know golf. Are you going to get better? Maybe. But I want to see someone who's worked with golf. By the way, doesn't have to be a golfer. It has to be someone who's helped other golfers,
right?
Who understands golf.
Yeah, I think that's a big piece too, is because whether or not that provider knows golf or knows CrossFit, if the consumer on the phone believes that they're with the right person, the chances that they get better are higher, right? Yeah. Like that's huge. Literally how it works. Whether it's a placebo effect or not, like belief that what you're doing is going to help you, helps you and helps that person. And if you're, if someone's listening to this and they're like an employee or a team member at a healthcare office, and what you're thinking to yourself is, well, that's not the way we do things. That's not the way we do our phone calls, because that's the way we've always done it. Well, that's the wrong answer too, because at the end of the day, you need to take care of the human that's on the other end of the phone and help them realize or not, are they calling the right place to deal with their unique issue that is unique to them. And, if you just get everybody scheduled, well, then you don't have any kind of like brand reputation for your facility. And if you just say, we treat everybody, and then,
it doesn't help, right? It doesn't help either side of the equation.
No,
that's the baffling thing, is it ain't helping your business. And I'm like, and by the way, the people who are looking for a solution should be confused as hell. And by the way, those clinics, I'm going to tell you right now, because I've been in this a long time, they have a high first visit no-show rate. Why? Because people hang up the phone and they go looking for a real solution, and they forget to cancel, or they don't care to cancel. But a lot of those first visit no-shows are a lot of people. I guarantee you, I have no proof on this, except for I've listened to the calls, I've answered the calls, I've seen the results of the calls. So I'm trying to connect the dots with, how do we create success? And the way I've created success is undoing that part. And the clinics with very high first visit arrival rates don't do this, right? Do the shit I just told you.
Yeah.
They don't wait for you to ask the questions. They initiate the conversation. The clinics, right? So, right, name, date of birth, everything. I'm a CrossFitter. I hang up. What do? I'm like, uncertainty, man. It's a deal killer. I hang up and I just go, and I go back on Google. And I'm like, wait a minute, this place just looks, right? And I've already forgotten I scheduled there. But you don't have the solution.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That phone call actually pushed you away from coming in and pushed them back to looking for another solution. Back to your point, right? So if I ask you, hey, Andrew, right? What do you need? Well, I do CrossFit. Well, I have someone here who works with CrossFitters, right? Already we're building this trust and decreasing this uncertainty. And even if you hang up and go, well, I'm not exactly sure that's the right place, but I know it's a good start, right? You're going to show up for the first visit.
Yeah, because if you make that phone call and you're calling looking for a solution and you hang up the phone without feeling like you got a solution, yeah, most people are going to continue to search for a solution. And I love that you use the analogy of like shoes in the beginning, because
perfect.
it fits perfectly. And, that's funny because we're talking about shoes, but that's exactly like, if you didn't feel like you found the solution, the correct pair of shoes, you would keep looking for another pair of shoes. Same thing with low back pain, which is the most common thing that we see in physical therapy. So yeah, it's totally relevant.
Yeah, there's so many ways to go with this. It's so interesting. Again, so it doesn't have to be difficult. Now let's keep it on the consumer side. So again, if you're not hearing these things, oh yeah, Jerry, schedule for physical therapy at 10 o'clock with a PT. Okay, so Andrew, we didn't, I still got some questions. And I guarantee you, I listen to, this is the other thing I do. I've taken calls, I've make secret callers. I listen to recorded calls all day long, every day. The uncertainty I hear at the end of these phone calls is just pure insanity. And I listen to it with the person who took the call. I'm like, does that sound like someone who's going to show up? Yeah, I think so. And I'm like, part of me is like, were we listening to the same call? What world do you live in? What conversation have you ever had that tone in it, that it sounded okay, that you would let someone walk away with, right? So there has to be ownership on this too. And so again, if you don't hear this, you got to hold that person accountable.
Yeah, take the reins, take those matters into your own hands. And I think, we sort of started out this episode saying about this kind of being one of the problems in healthcare. Well, this is one of the only ways that it's going to change, is if
And when we think
consumers
about
change
how
it.
far upstream it is, right? So if I do this, if I, the consumer, I, the person with low back pain does this, that's one less person in this office taking up space for a person who should be in there. So again, it's weird. It's you're actually helping healthcare solve its own fucked up world, its own problems, by staying out of the office and not going in front of someone who goes, oh damn, another low back pain patient. And by the way, that happens. But by the way, do you as a consumer want to be in a clinic where someone looks at their schedule and says, cool, CrossFitter with low back pain, I can help him? Think about that for a second. You as the consumer just solved a lot of problems. You, the consumer, allowing someone to put you on the schedule at 10:30 for low back pain. I'm not going to blame you, but you're not part of the solution. So it's kind of neutral. So you taking control in an industry that traditionally doesn't want you to take control, that doesn't ask you to take control, is actually good for the whole fucking system, whole fucked up system. I curse a lot.
It's all good.
And there's nothing like healthcare. I mean, this isn't shoes. I constantly tell people, we're not selling shoes here. We're not selling toasters. These are people's lives. My favorite thing is, ring, ring, ABC Physiotherapy. This is Jerry. How can I help you? Yeah, I'm wondering if you take my insurance. Oh, what do you have? Blue Cross? No, we don't. Okay, thank you. Click. Now, Jerry's sitting there. I'm sitting next to Jerry. And I look over at Jerry and go, what did they need? They just called a physical therapy office, by the way. What did that potential consumer, patient, client need? They needed to know if we take their insurance. And I said, why did they call a physical therapy office to ask about their insurance coverage? I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't you think they called a physical therapy office because they have an issue that they believe physical therapy can help? Yeah. So why didn't you ask them about it? Well, because they asked about their insurance. Sure. But what's more important, their insurance or if we can help them or not?
Right.
So is that the consumer's fault? No, because we've all been conditioned that way. Right. So I'm telling you, don't call. And by the way, even if you have to see someone who takes your insurance, don't start with that, please. Find out if they're even the right place. And the right place is not based on insurance. The right place is, are you the right fit for me? Yes or no? Mm-hmm. Then do you take my insurance? That is the most baffling thing that happened to me in the whole year of answering phone calls. And that is what led me down the path to set up these questions, because I realized the consumer had no idea what I could do for them. So all they could do was start with, do you take my insurance? So I put it on the front desk people to start flipping that conversation. But I'm going to tell you, listening to this podcast, you must flip that conversation. You must take ownership of this. Because if they do take your insurance, it's one of 10 boxes to be checked and may be the least important. They take my insurance, but they've never seen people my age with my problem doing the things I want to do. Don't schedule with them. Own your health, own your wellness, and call more in-network clinics. Don't get me wrong, but don't be part of that problem.
Yep. Because why? Like you said earlier, it's going to save you time, energy, and money by finding out that, okay, they take my insurance, but this is not the right place for me potentially. Don't waste your time, energy, and money and, cause more chaos to your already chaotic life going to the place that's the wrong place for you.
By the way, I have to go on network. Cool. What's your copay? $50. Cool. So you call that wrong place. They take your insurance, you schedule $50 for the eval, $50 for the second visit, $50 for the third, fourth, fifth, sixth visit. And then you really start to go, I'm not in the right place. So you just drop $300. You then call a place, and let's just say it. You call a place like Physio Room. You ask if they take your insurance, and they say, well, Jerry, we can definitely talk about that, but let's find out if we're the right fit for you first. And because of your bad experience, you go, sure. And you understand that, yeah, they are the right fit for you. And then they tell you it's going to be whatever. I'm making numbers up. This is not what they charge. So I probably shouldn't use Physio Room, but don't equate this number. This is just an example. So it's going to be $150. Wow, it sounds expensive. And right, the person who just spent $300 at the wrong place says $150 sounds expensive. And I'm like, it's $150 to come in for an hour and find out your plan and why you're having this problem. You just spent $300 and wasted, by the way, travel time, energy, and your money. So you wasted way more than $300. So is $150 a lot to invest sitting across from an expert for an hour? Again, and you ask those questions, or you allow that conversation to happen, you, the consumer. So now you can decide if $150 is worth it to you.
Right.
It's not apples to apples, people.
Yeah. And that totally flips the script. And I think it's awesome to have this conversation. And I think relative to the conversation we were having right before we hit record on this podcast, I think we accomplished our goal, which to me was kind of to just awesome. Get people thinking and to get people potentially changing their mind and give them a strategy that might help them find solutions to their problems.
It's so funny. I still look around sometimes, right? Like I was watching one of my PT friends on Instagram, a female who has a pelvic health clinic, talking to another female. And it was actually, the conversation was around the one woman's OBGYN she went to the OBGYN, said, I'm having pain with sex. And the OBGYN literally said, you should drink a glass of wine before you have sex. And so again, this isn't just alone. It's like, if that's an acceptable answer, right, that's going to take everybody aback. And then I'm going to go, so what are you going to do next about that? Right? Start Googling painful sex, female painful sex, right? Seriously. Yeah. If you're a female, if you're a male, type in male painful sex and start looking for those solutions, and don't allow this to happen. That's not right. Right. But you return to that doctor, you return to them for the solution. No, it's the same thing. And start calling around. Hi, my name is Jerry. Yeah. And if I'm calling a pelvic health clinic, right, probably not going to have any problem with this. Pretty much, it's like, I'm having some pain with sex. Do you guys, or does your clinic, do your experts, do your practitioners help people with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do, Jerry. Cool. I mean, what a great start to a journey, right? That should be the first question out of your mouth. And so it's no different, low back pain, right? Again, we could throw in hundreds of diagnoses here. And again, this started at the OBGYN. So think about that. You're going to someone who you believe to be an expert who can help you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's so unacceptable. And it's unacceptable. Do not allow it to continue.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because if you do, it
you're
doesn't
going
fix.
to the wrong place for your low back pain, right? Whatever it is.
Right. No, this was awesome. And I mean, we could keep talking, you guys, all day about this. And I'm sure a lot of people are relating to this conversation that we're having and thinking about some of the questions they've been asked when they call healthcare places, or the questions that they ask, is, do you take Cigna insurance at your facility? Who cares if it's not the right place to help you? Who cares if they take that? Can they help
that's
me?
one of the big, probably top 3 takeaways from this. Quit basing your health and wellness on if they take your insurance. I did not say pay out of pocket. I did not say spend a shitload of money out of pocket. I said stop basing the conversation and the start and choice of your healthcare provider based only on one data point.
Yeah, totally. Especially a data point that can very easily change.
Equates to nothing.
Yeah.
And equates to nothing. No one can correlate a clinic that takes your insurance with outcomes. There is no outcome measures out there to show that people who take your insurance can deliver you your outcomes. So start the conversation there. And again, if someone calls, let's flip it. If you call, no, let's keep it on the consumer side. If you call and the first question is, do you take my insurance? And they answer with yes or no, probably wasn't the place no, we have no idea if it was the right fit for you.
Right.
You could have just hung up on someone who is completely the right fit for you.
But neither of you asked the right question. Yeah. Neither of you got down to that point.
Start the conversation. By the way, if you call somewhere and say, I have this specific problem, can you help me? Well, let me get some information from you. And one of the top 3 questions they ask is your insurance. I would stop it there and go, listen, I've done this on my secret callers. I'm going to tell you right now, I've gotten pushback on it. Where I get to the 3rd one, and what insurance do you have? I say, why is that important? Oh, they fucking freak out.
Yeah.
We were supposed to, and by the way, they're poorly trained. I don't blame the person answering the phone. It comes straight down from the top, by the way. So someone says, you take my insurance. I say, why is that important to you? I hadn't even brought it up yet, how I wanted to pay it. You want to see someone stop dead in their tracks? I love the dead air. I love the awkwardness.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, can we talk about me? And if you actually have a solution for me first?
Yep.
This is exactly what you hear.
You hear awkward silence. Yeah, exactly. And I'm right there with you. I kind of like the awkward silence too, although I tend to want to fill it. But awkward silence it's important to have because it keeps you on track to the right question, and the right solution.
Right. Yeah. It just makes people think a little harder. And hopefully that person on the other end goes, oh, they're right. Yeah. Hey, what questions do you have on me? And you're like, cool. And you started that. You, the consumer, you, the client.
Yeah.
You got them to have that, right? I'm telling you, stop waiting, because most of the people won't ask it. So you can't wait for that. You as the client, the consumer, you have to start asking this. You should expect it. And when you don't get it, you need to flip it and ask it. That's it. That's our second take home.
Yeah. No, I love it. And, I know both Jerry and I have busy schedules today. He's got to get to a meeting. I've got to get to a meeting, but I hope this episode gives you an opportunity to sit in that awkward silence for a second, reflect back on some of the experiences that you've had, or gives you permission to take the reins and change the next phone call that you make for a problem that you're dealing with and you're looking for a solution, and make sure that that's directed on a path that actually helps you find the solution to what you're dealing with. Because, how often, like Jerry said, how often does it happen that you show up in an office and nobody there looks anything like you. Do you get the feeling that that office is the right place for you to be to help you deal with the solution or with the problem that you have? Probably not. Probably not. And, you know, it's the same thing as, like he said, when we go in to buy a pair of shoes. Hey, I'm looking for this pair of shoes. Can you help me find it? Is this something you guys have? And if
And it's
not,
usually a yes or no, dude.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
If not, hopefully they send you to another place that does. And if someone walked into our office at Physio Room and they were dealing with something that we are not the place to help them with, hopefully we refer them to somewhere else that can deal with their problem. Or even if we don't know a place that can help, hopefully we take the opportunity to try and find one for them. Like, hey,
you got it, dude.
Yeah, I don't think we are the best place for you based on this conversation we just had, but we'll be happy to help you try to find the place that is. Can I call you back at 3:00 this afternoon with some recommendations after I talk to our therapist about where they think you should go? Boom. At least you provided that person with a solution.
And by the way, you just were part of the solution that I
Mhm.
spelled out by saying, hey, tell me what you need. Tell me more. Oh, we can't help you. But you know what we can do? Boom. Call you back at 3. We did.
Mhm.
You actually were part of the solution.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing this, my friends. And you should be leery of places that won't do this for you.
Mhm.
And by the way, ask. Because you might be surprised when people don't offer it. Go, well, yeah, I can help you find.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, I would expect greater than 51% to go, well, I really don't know. You can go, cool. Glad I asked.
Yeah.
And glad. And by the way, when you hang up, go, thank God I asked.
That's the bullet there. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right.
You
So
don't want to be in that system.
right. Yeah. So everybody, right? Let's be part of the solution and not part of the problem, right?
Yeah,
the
both
healthcare
sides.
problem.
Both sides.
Mhm.
I think that's a great theme for this whole talk.
Yeah.
Right. You as a consumer client cannot wait around for healthcare to catch up. It is the slowest moving $3.5 trillion poorly incentivized business on the face of the earth. So if you're waiting for it to change, it ain't going to happen. So be part of that change and own, hey, I'm Jerry. I'm 55 years old, right? These are my life experiences. This is what happened. This is what I'm looking for. Can you deliver that? Yes or
Mhm.
no? Cool.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about insurance and price.
Yeah. After you find out. Yeah, exactly. Well, Jerry, like I said, we could talk all day about this, but we don't need to, I don't think, to get this point across. If somebody was listening to this episode and they want to be able to find you, where can people find you? What's your Instagram handle? Whatever you want to share.
Yeah,
Where
I
can
think
people see your stuff?
So if you came to my Instagram, if you go to my YouTube page, you're going to see a lot of this stuff focused towards the business. So it'd be interesting because if you're not from the business side, you're going to see a lot of business stuff, but with the same bent. So you could go, and again, you can reach out to me privately on any of these channels. I actually respond to everybody. I treat private messaging everywhere as a kind of a text. So Instagram is Jerry Durham PT. My YouTube page is Jerry Durham PT. My Facebook page is actually Jerry Durham, Durham. And I think those are the best places to go currently. If you're on LinkedIn, I don't know why, if you're just a consumer client, you'd be out there. But if you're on LinkedIn, Jerry Durham.
There it is.
So yeah, so I'm in all those places, and all of those places I respond to all messages.
Awesome. We'll put all those things in the show notes. If you guys like this episode, man, it would be awesome if you hop on to any of these podcast platforms, review section, leave us a review, tell us what you liked about it. And if this struck a chord with you and you have more questions that came up as you listen to this, throw those in there too, so that we can do a podcast episode about those things. You'll find all of my information in the show notes too. Dr. Andrew Fix, please feel free to shoot me a message. If you want to hear about a particular topic, we'll do an episode on it. You just got to let me know. You be the one to take the reins and ask the questions, and then we'll provide you with the solution. So Jerry,
there we go.
There you go. Jerry, thank you so much for hopping on here from the East Coast. I really appreciate your time.
This was fun, man.
It was good to catch up with you. All you guys that tuned in to listen to this episode of The Code, thank you so much for being here, and we'll catch you guys next week on The Code. Have a great day.
Thank you.